Hello again, everybody, and welcome back. As you know, I am doing a full week of book reviews, or at least 5 days of book reviews. So one new video a day up until Friday. So far, so good. I've been on pace, and today is day 3. First off, I want to thank you guys for watching. If you haven't, day 1's review was of Divergent by Veronica Roth, which is an incredible book. And another really good book is Beautiful Disaster by Jamie McGuire, which I reviewed yesterday. So you should check out those reviews and let me know what you think. But today is dedicated to what you guys voted for, and that was 1984 by George Orwell. I'm sorry, this is the most boring cover in the history of covers, but it's all I could find. I apologize. So just a brief plot summary, although I'm sure probably a lot of you guys already know what this book is about. This is the story of totalitarianism, which is pretty much a really big word for when the government tries to control everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything, like your thoughts, your feelings, who you hang out with, what you do, everything. And it's a really scary society. So in this totalitarian society, we meet Winston. And Winston just kind of comes across as your typical guy, but of course, he isn't, because he is the main character. So in this society, there are tons of things that can pretty much, they're bad. There is the big brother who's always watching you. You have TV screens in your home that are watching your every move. You can't turn them off. You can't write down your own thoughts or feelings. They're the thought police, who will arrest you for pretty much anything and everything. And it's a really interesting setup. But you have Winston, who doesn't like that setup. And Winston, he doesn't like openly rebel in the sense that he grabs a pitchfork and, charges to the nearest government center and is like, hey, stop you guys. He's more secretive in a way. He starts to write a journal. He starts to branch out, meet other people like Julia, who I won't give away too much of their relationship. But pretty much from there, you see him try to progress into just this mentality that this is wrong. And you see what happens when he decides that I don't want to live in this society, so what am I going to do about it?
I know there's probably a huge glare. I'm sorry, this is a really ugly cover. Ah.
This book I read in high school, and we all know how scary it can be when you get a book in high school and your teacher forces you to read it. They plop this book you have never heard of before on your desk, and they're like, hey, read the first 50 pages for tomorrow. And it sucks, because at the same time, you love to read, but you don't want to be forced to read a book, and you certainly aren't sure how you feel about a classic that may or may not appeal to you. I am telling you, when your teacher puts 1984 on your desk and says, read this book, get excited. This book is a great classic, and it's one of those books that when I read it in high school, I was actually happy I read it. And here are the reasons why. First of all, the plot. Completely new setting, completely new time period, completely new. It's just a really creative plot. And what I really think people will like about this book, especially now, is it's got that dystopian feel. So, books like Hunger Games and Divergent and the Match series are so big right now. And I think a lot of people have that dystopian craze. They really like to read something that's kind of futuristic and different, something that they can't come up with that someone else has. I think if you want to break out into the classics, but you still have that love for dystopian books, you might like this. Oh my god, my arm's sore. Oh my god, my iPad is heavy. What else was I going to talk about? There's a lot of themes in this book. There's a lot of ideas in this book that are really interesting, that make you think, is this possible? And a book that makes you think like that, they're always my favorites, because as much as we want to say, hey, 1984, what a great science fiction book, while you're reading this, you're starting to think, could our government do that? And it's a really interesting thought to have. So that's what I really like about a book, when you're not just reading and you feel like you're reading. You're reading this and you're kind of thinking about it on a whole new level. You're thinking, well, what else could happen? Could this happen to me? Is this me soon? Did George Orwell, was he a psychic? Did he know my future? I mean, obviously, it's not to that extent, but it's interesting to think that way, and that's something I really like in a book like this. When you're reading this book, my only advice to you would be to, realize it is a classic book. I remember at times the pace being a little slow, being a little like, okay, where is this going? But all that is background information and setup for things to happen in the future. So my advice to you would be, as much as I said how this book might satisfy your dystopian kind of YA urge. It is a classic novel and it is a little slow at times, but stick with it and it's a really great read, or at least that's what my opinion of it is. Thank you so much for watching this review. My arm is so tired. I will be back tomorrow with another review for you guys, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, leave me a comment, subscribe. I love to hear from you guys. I really, 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 really do. I really do. I love all of you. Okay. Yeah.